one of the peculiar things is there's a nice thing actually from a Muslim girl who says, I want to go Hajj, I want to go Primark. And there's that kind of complete balancing of the trivial and the amazing. But that's an exacerbated condition of the human condition.
Yes.
It's not just a teenager.
No, and it does turn dark at the end, but even then there is that sort of sense of comedy, of the ability of young people to kind of bounce back from things, even COVID.
I think it's because there's a future, like with young people it's the beginning, and I think it's implied that you're always going to bounce back because you're 16, you've got your whole life ahead.
Okay, well, Our Generation is at the National Theatre in London until the 9th of April, and it then moves to the Chichester Festival Theatre from the 22nd of April to the 14th of May. Now, given that Hannah Lowe and Anthony are both poets, we also asked them to focus on the cultural picks we often do on a Thursday on poetry, specifically to pick a recent or upcoming publication they will recommend to listeners. We had asked Hannah to go to Our Generation because her book Our Kids, which has just won the Costa, was all about that, but other circumstances intervened, she couldn't do that. But we did want to hear your poetry picks. Hannah, what have you chosen?
Hi, I've chosen a book by Kim Moore's second collection, All the Men I Never Married. I should say I don't think Kim Moore can write a bad word, but this is really an astonishingly brilliant collection. I wanted to mention it tonight because it is a year since Sarah Everard was murdered, and this book really reminds me that the world is not always a safe place for women. The poems are like a kind of liturgy of encounters, reflections, and events that centre male violence, but also casual misogyny and male microaggressions against women.
Can you give us a little example of the writing? I know you can't read a whole poem just because of time, but if you can give us a short example.
Yeah, so in 13, the poems are all numbered rather than titled. The speaker has climbed into a taxi and the driver asks her what she does for a living, and she says, I'm a writer. Crazy, 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 he says. And I wish I'd told him I was an accountant but on he goes, taking his eyes off the road, to tell me all women who are artists are crazy in bed. Do I know what he means? They want to try crazy things in the bedroom. If he stops the car, I could open the door and run, or pull out my phone and pretend someone is calling, or ask him politely what's wrong. I could laugh at the next thing he says, while the voice in my head whispers that somehow I've led him on, that I was asking for it.
She has a line much later. You might feel implicated